Well, for the last few days and weeks, there has been a campaign against Vikram Sampath, an author, and it's mostly the left cabal that's targeting him. And their latest reason to target him is they claim that he has plagiarized. In fact, Vikram Sampath has gone on record, and Sanjeev Sanyal has also gone on record to bust some of the claims that this left cabal is trying to make vis-a-vis Vikram Sampath. And I have with me Kanchan Gupta joining us on the broadcast. Kanchan Gupta is a Senior Advisor, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, joining us. Kanchan Gupta, good evening. You know, it's not the first time that Vikram Sampath has been targeted. Now, why do you think these people get edgy?
Well, this is something which is very well established in the left liberal cabal. Every time they want to sort of hit out at anybody, they throw buckets load of muck at him or her. And the whole idea is that some of it is going to stick, and therefore that individual will get dirtied. Now, this whole thing of accusing Vikram Sampath of plagiarism, I have seen the letter which three so-called academics have sent to the Royal Society of History, Royal whatever it is called, of which Vikram is a fellow, and the whole idea behind the letter is to deplatform him. Now, who are these people? One of them is Ananya Chakravarti, the other is Audrey Trushke, and the third is a chap called Rohit Chopra. Now, they are all they are all known for their very strident views on icons of Indian history who tend to be predominantly Hindu. And the whole purpose is to defame and slander and present a particular school of history which shows them in poor light. And this has been this has been the story all along, starting from Irfan Habib of AMU. You had Romila Thapar of JNU and a whole host of other historians. Ram Sharan Sharma, who actually, whose lies, whose so-called unimpeachable facts on Ayodhya were proven to be brazen lies when the Supreme Court began hearing the matter. They were demolished one by one in court. And yet nobody tells them, nobody points a finger at them and says that you have been misleading people with your bogus history all these years, all these decades. And that is how minds have been shaped, that is how global opinion has been shaped, because of their warped sense of history. And in the past also, every time there has been any challenge mounted to this school of history, they have hit back viciously. They have hit back with threatening publishers. I know of several publishers who have been threatened that if you publish XYZ, I am going to withdraw my book, or I will not give you my next book. There have been all kinds of stories are heard of how booksellers are intimidated, how prominent booksellers are intimidated, how literary festival organizers are told not to invite or to deplatform certain authors. So it's you have used the right word. It's a cabal. It is a small group, a closed circle, and anybody who tries to barge in, they immediately gang up and blackball that person. So the whole idea is to blackball Vikram Sampath and sort of keep him out. They won't let in anybody with a contrarian point of view. They won't let in anybody who tells the story as it is, because that would sort of question their integrity. That would question their intellectual integrity, of which they have very little, frankly.
Yeah.
A last point which I would like to make, one of the names which these three so-called academics have mentioned in their letter accusing Vikram Sampath of plagiarism. One of the names is a well-known academic and a historian, very well-known and established historian, who actually reviewed Vikram Sampath's biography of Veer Savarkar. And in that review of hers, she nowhere mentions, or there is not even the remotest suggestion that Vikram Sampath has plagiarized her work. So I mean, it's bizarre. You are saying that he has plagiarized the work of someone, and that someone reviews Vikram's book and doesn't make any mention of it. So whom are they kidding? And lastly, this people forget Arun Shourie had written a book called Our Eminent Historians, and it was just a recount of how our so-called quote unquote eminent historians, who had accorded to themselves the role of custodians of Indian history, and how they used government funds to sort of churn out their version of history, and often they wouldn't even churn out their version of history, they would just pocket the money. And this is the kind of people we are dealing with. As I said, they are very low on moral integrity, they are very low on intellectual integrity, and they are very low on academic integrity. So when you are low on integrity on all three key counts, you stand demolished. You stand stripped of all credibility. So who cares? Who cares what these three totally discredited individuals, and one of them who has been leading a campaign in America, in US campuses against Hinduism and Hindus. Who cares what they think about Vikram Sampath? His book is out there. People are reading it. It's a huge success. By the way, it's a huge success.
Yeah.
And the number of copies which have been sold far exceed the number of copies which of books which these so-called historians have written or write will ever sell. And that adds up to their angst, and that adds up to their anger, to their frustration, to their jealousy, and their inability to accept that somebody has bested them in their own profession by writing an honest book.
Well, absolutely. I think you got it spot on. Thank you for that. In fact, both Vikram, Sampath, if you look at the pattern of how they've been attacked, historian Vikram Sampath, policymaker Sanjeev Sanyal, because both of them often give that important counter narrative that really has been so far a monopoly of the left cabal. So clearly, they are not comfortable with any intellectual challenge. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. We will talk to you once again. Thank you. Kanchan.